Hello and welcome to the Global Politics class. Today we are going to learn MNCs. Multinational corporations are business that operate in two or more countries. Their purpose is to create profit, which means they want to make money. They are often private businesses, meaning they are not owned or controlled by a state. In this sense, MNCs are non state actors in global politics. Multinational corporations are one of the most important element of economic globalization. In other words, they are the actors that are creating deeper market integration between countries. Because they operate in two or more states, they are capable of easily moving raw materials, manufactured goods, knowledge, and human resources across borders. What is another key concept? Multinational corporations are very wealthy. This accumulation of wealth is a form of power. Some corporations have more yearly revenue than states. Furthermore, due to their control over global supply chains and systems of production, MNCs have immense power to control the distribution of resources. MNCs control vast sums of wealth that can be moved across borders, and this wealth can be used to obtain influence in local and international governments. Political donations by corporations in the United States is a particularly controversial issue. Should money influence politics? Think over it. The next key concept, its interdependence. Multinational corporations have contributed to growing interdependence. Many countries rely on foreign direct investment from MNCs. The global supply chains created by MNCs create connections between states that are difficult to remove without causing massive economic disruption. In many ways, MNCs underpin the global trading system, and the assumption that global market integration is a positive development in global politics. Furthermore, economic changes at a local or regional level can cause disruptions abroad due to the connections created by MNCs, widening the impact of recession and economic downturns. So, now what are the advantages? Advocates of multinational corporations say, look, multinational corporations can do a lot of good things in the global economy. They provide investment to other countries around the world. They carry a capital flow to a developing country that can boost growth in the economy of host countries. They create jobs and hence reduce poverty in other countries. They encourage the development of infrastructure, roads, bridges, energy infrastructure. They can bring technology to the other countries. They create access to world markets for companies operating in other countries. Well, let's look at the disadvantages now. But the critics of multinational corporations say that multinational corporations, on balance, have a negative impact. And they say this is because they argue that multinational corporations serve to decapitalize other countries. And what they mean by that is they take away the profit. They take money and resources out of other countries and bring it to the home country, the headquarters country. You remember dependency theory? Yes, that's the connectivity. They argue also that multinational corporations can create inequality around the world because some companies will pay very well and that will lead to income inequality in other countries around the world. They also argue that multinational corporations exploit poor workers, poor communities, and poor countries by running sweatshops, an example of Bangladesh, Vietnam, and Malaysia. They also create dependence as multinational corporations in some parts of the world become increasingly exploitative. These other countries may depend increasingly on company X, for example, Vietnam. You may have a look at the case study snippet on our channel. And finally, there is the argument that multinational corporations stifle domestic innovation and economic activity by virtue of the fact they expand around the world. It makes very difficult for companies in any of these other countries to actually get going to establish market share because the big companies can take advantage of the economies of scale and dominate the marketplace. One thing to think over here, Citizenship versus MNC's membership. Well, many multinational corporations provide pension funds to their employees. They provide a sense of identity to the point where some have even begun to question whether or not more of our identities are being wrapped up with our employers than they are with our sense of being citizens of a state. Well, that time may be a long time in the future, but it's still the case that multinational corporations today are amongst the most important and contagious non state actors in global politics. Finally, a question to you. Do the positive effects outweigh the negative effects of MNCs in the host country? Specifically, in any country. You may think of any country. For case studies on MNCs, kindly have a look at the case study snippet. There are 3 4 case studies. I hope you enjoy it. Stay safe, stay tuned.